First at 4, new testing sites are open, and Detroit's police chief makes his first public appearance after recovering from coronavirus. New unemployment numbers are staggering. We are monitoring the stock market, and President Trump is getting ready to issue guidelines to reopen the economy. Good afternoon, Paul.
It scares me.
A disease he doesn't understand while doing a job for customers he calls friends. The unique challenges of the developmentally disabled essential workers might give you just a bit of an attitude adjustment.
And Paul, if you didn't get enough snow at your house on Wednesday, good news. We've got even more of it coming tomorrow. Wait till you see how much we're going to end up with by the finish of Friday. It's all right now, first at 4.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, the coronavirus crisis is hitting us from so many directions. Workers losing their jobs, people losing loved ones. But some, like Detroit's police chief, are recovering. Chief James Craig is one of the 29,000 people who've been infected in the state of Michigan. The death toll has now passed 2,000 and it's already nearing 2,100. Also today, new drive-through testing sites are opening. Mayor Mike Duggan is urging people who think they are infected to talk with their doctors to get tested. And as we said, Detroit Police Chief James Craig back on the job, telling fellow patients to keep fighting.
And I know in order to overcome this virus, this deadly virus, I needed to punch back. It will consume you. It wants to take over. But if you let it know you're in charge, you can win this. And so I'm just encouraging anybody going through this fight, stay prayed up and fight back.
Chief Craig thanked everyone involved in his recovery, from the mayor to his fellow officers. You'll hear more from the chief tonight at 5. Moving to Pontiac today, Oakland County opens its first drive-through testing site. Testing is by appointment only and only open to first responders, essential employees, adults 65 and over, and Pontiac residents. Results should come back in 24 to 48 hours. Wayne County also opened a new drive-through testing site outside of Sam's Club over in Southgate. We did post a link to a testing site locator on our homepage of clickondetroit.com. Now, watching Wall Street, it has become an uncomfortable exercise during the pandemic, especially with unemployment skyrocketing. Taking a look right now as the Dow Jones and the markets close, as you see, Dow is up some 33 points. That is some good news for us on this Thursday afternoon. Today, we did 1 million people signed up for unemployment benefits. About 22 million have lost their jobs in the last month. Easily the worst stretch of losses on record. And the Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses is expected to run out of money today. President Trump is speaking with governors this afternoon to talk about how to reopen the economy. He says he's prepared to open some states quickly. I spoke with Governor Gretchen Whitmer before she stopped in on that White House conference call about her concerns and her message to the president.
The worst thing we could have is a second spike in COVID-19. It would be absolutely devastating. And so we've got to be really smart about how we re-engage and do so in waves. I think the message from governors on both sides of the aisle will continue to be that we need as much flexibility as possible as this assistance comes from the federal government.
Kimberly Gill in the newsroom with a preview of what we might hear from the president. Kim.
Hi, Karen. Good afternoon. President Trump has made it clear he wants the country back in business as soon as possible. We're expecting that he will announce new guidelines later today, even as he's getting some pushback from business leaders who echo Governor Whitmer's concerns. Don't look for a one-size-fits-all approach, though, to reopening the country. It's expected that the guidelines would call for easing restrictions in states less affected by the virus, while keeping them in place for areas that have been hit hard. Presumably, that would include Michigan. Task Force Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx says the data shows things are improving across the nation, but Americans still need to commit to social distancing. During yesterday's task force briefing, the president made it clear he wants to speed things up where possible.
We think some of the states can actually open up before the deadline of May 1st. And I think that will be a very exciting time indeed. Governors are looking forward. They're chomping at the bit. And they'll be safe. They'll be strong. But we want to get our country back
And we'll see what the president says later today. Karen, we've also learned Governor Whitmer is teaming up with the governors of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Kentucky to coordinate reopening plans in the Midwest. So much more to come on this. Until then, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you at 5. At the start of the COVID-19 surge, emergency departments were dealing with an overwhelming influx of patients, and everyone was being urged to seek alternate care for non-emergency problems. Well, now Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with some completely different concerns that have come up.
While things are certainly not back to normal, we have a concern that many people may be ignoring important medical emergencies, either because they think the ER is too busy or they don't want to be exposed to the virus. I want everyone to understand, ERs are open for all emergencies, and we do keep you protected. The concern isn't only in Southeast Michigan. The American College of Emergency Physicians released an advisory reading in part, in the last month, some emergency departments across the country are seeing a reduction in patient volume of more than 30%. In some rural or underserved communities, emergency physicians are seeing fewer patients, but report that those who do come in are more seriously ill or injured, which may mean they are putting off necessary treatment. While we still need to preserve emergency capacity for sicker patients, especially in harder hit areas, we most definitely do not want people in need of care to ignore serious problems, especially some of the following: bleeding that will not stop, breathing problems, change in mental status, chest pain, coughing up or vomiting blood, fainting or loss of consciousness, feeling suicidal or homicidal, head or spine injury, severe or persistent vomiting, sudden severe pain anywhere in the body, sudden dizziness, sudden muscle or general weakness, sudden change in vision, ingestion of a poison substance, or severe abdominal pain or pressure. Also, to protect uninfected patients, most emergency rooms like mine are providing masks to wear in the ER if you don't have your own. Also, environmental services, our dedicated cleaning staff, they have been doing an extraordinary job of cleaning and decontaminating every nook and cranny of the hospital. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Doc. And while COVID-19 is frightening to so many of us, imagine being an essential worker with a limited ability to understand the disease and why it's so dangerous. Paula Tutman joins us with why this unique challenge is one of those stories people may not realize is happening.
As Clark prepares to go to work, it is with great excitement. His customers are his friends. His work, not just his livelihood, but his life and sense of self-worth and independence. But as a cashier for a large grocery chain, COVID-19 presents a list of challenges.
I have a learning disability. I have learning disabilities, and I've got cognitive impairment.
He has to wear a mask and gloves.
You know, I just don't like the feeling of the powder all over me, you know.
His customers have to wear masks and gloves. To Clark, it is almost monstrous.
It scares me. I don't like seeing these customers in gloves and masks. I would rather see their faces.
On My Own of Michigan is an organization that gives adults with various developmental disabilities a shot at life by promoting their different abilities so they have lives outside of their diagnosis.
Too often, individuals with disabilities are defined by what they can't do. But in an interesting pandemic twist, we're now realizing that we've been relying on them all along for the things we need most. This is a story about impossible choices. Nearly 30% of our members have been considered essential employees and are putting their lives on the line each day to ensure we have what we need. Just last week, one of our members became one of the 5 known grocery store workers in Michigan to die from COVID-19.
For Clark, it's still worth the risk to go to work. It is that important to him, yet
he said he's been having nightmares and panic attacks.
And while he doesn't have a full grasp of the short tempers and sometimes the impatient treatment from his customers, the ones he calls his friends, he does understand this.
Some of the customers actually take the time to thank me for being there. And I can't tell you how much that means to me. That means so much to me. To hear a customer take 5 minutes or 2 minutes to thank me for being there and performing this service.
Paula Tutman, Local 4.
Oh, thank you, Clark, for your work. Clark works for minimum wage and says just simple kindness and patience during this stressful and confusing time would be extra money in the bank to him. Well, we've been seeing snow showers off and on the past 24 hours, and we hope right now you might be getting a break because we hear there's more on the way. Ben, say it isn't so.
You know what? I can say this, Karen. We probably won't have to shovel what shows up. That's the best I can do because we are expecting accumulation, and it's going to be in here pretty quick tomorrow morning. But first, let's get a sort of a snapshot of where this system is, and you can see it's pretty elongated here across the central part of the U.S. Coming out of the Rockies, just now starting to move into Illinois' rain. By the time that gets here, though, everything that we are expecting to see is going to be in the form of snow, and that will start arriving again as we get into tomorrow morning. So 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. is the time frame we're watching. Heaviest snow will be in the south zone, and total accumulations right now 1 to 3 inches. Most of us will be in the 1 to 2, and the majority that's going to be on the grass, Karen. But coming up, we'll talk more about what's to come after the snow as we head into the weekend. That's in a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Ben. Still ahead, first at 4. We know the African-American community is getting hit hard by COVID-19. Coming up, we're going to talk about an actress offering free counseling to help with the emotional impact. Now, first, a fire rescue on the city's west side. 5 children sent to the hospital. We're tracking their conditions and the search for a cause. And a reminder, tonight at 7, Senators Debbie Stabenow and Gary Peters answer your questions about the COVID-19 crisis. It is a joint town hall with all the stations in town. We hope you'll watch on Local 4 or see it streaming on clickondetroit.com. That's tonight at 7. And by the way, Jeopardy fans, the finals of the college tournament have been moved to 8 p.m. so you can see Jeopardy right after the town hall. We'll be right back.